Howdy folks, Dave of Chaos Crafting here. Today we're going to start a truly epic build. We're going to create a giant cliff face for your tabletop needs. Alrighty, so epic build, you're going to need epic material. Head down to the hardware store. You're going to want to get an 8-foot by 4-foot sheet of foamular. Yeah, unless you got a van, it ain't gonna fit. So, bring with you a T-square and your utility knife. You could use that to break down the sheet into smaller 2-by-4-foot panels. That should fit in just about any back seat. Always start with some kind of design in mind. I'll go ahead and create a base. I'll start stacking layers of foam, one on top of another. Each layer will represent about a 10-foot increment in game space. Create a cave entrance here at the base. We'll do some overhangs, places for stalactites and stalagmites. I will eventually draw the actual rock shapes onto the foam before I cut it. Let's see, that's probably going to be about 24 inches wide, 16 inches tall, so that's going to be 16 layers of foam. And we'll vary them in size and shape to give us a unique play space. And you can see I've drawn a topography line on the foam panel. I'll be using that as a cutting guide. The line is a rough outline to look like a rock edge. One layer finished. Now we're going to use that layer as a guide to draw the next layer. Now this could either be going up or down, and you could either increase the size or decrease the size. Since this portion of the rock face I want to be fairly steep, I'm going to make it the same size. So I just did a trace. But I think I want to overhang. So let's get another piece of foam. Always save your spare foam. And I'll draw a overhang right here. There we go. Now I'll cut this out. Sometimes you're going to want to add material, much like I'm doing here with this overhang. Now, I'm going to use hot glue to attach it, but just in case someone has a heavy hand at the game table, I'm going to use a skewer on the inside as support. Alright, I snap off a little piece. Using a utility knife that I don't cut foam with, I sharpen up this end of the skewer. Okay, had to clean up real quick. Very good. Let's put some Alright, that's done. Now, just a whole bunch more to go. Once you have 3 layers cut out, go ahead and hot glue them together. This will just make it easier while you're assembling, and you won't forget which layer goes where. I did that. As you can see, I've got a bunch of them stacked up. I've got 9 layers here. Now we need to think about sketching out more details on these layers, like caves and nooks and crannies. Now for this next part, I'm going to use a new tool for the first time, a hot wire knife. Should cut right through this foam, no problem. And we'll use it to carve these caves, maybe remove a little bit from the sides, and we'll see what type of texture it can make. Texturing will be the longest part of this build. What I'm doing now is I am knocking off some of the edges on the foam layers. Not too much. I still want those striations visible and available as a distance marker. You know, leave a little bit to the imagination. This is the theater of the mind. I want playable surfaces. I want it to resemble rock. I'm not going to take the time to make this look exactly like a cliff face. It's going to be a tabletop representation. I'll go back and forth between using the hot wire cutter and a utility knife just to blend these layers together a little bit. Now it's time to sketch out some cracks and crevices. These lines will go across striations. It'll tie some of the textures together better. Really, you're just trying to make it look interesting and visually unique. I'll cut some areas out. It'll leave places to stuff moss, mushrooms, I don't know, whatever comes to mind. With the cracks and crevices, I'm going to strictly use the utility knife. I'm going to want to cut deep into the foam, and I just can't get that kind of control with the hotwire knife. Take your time, don't cut your fingers off. Enjoy the process. This makes a mess. This makes a huge mess. My wife is always yelling at me because there's little pink foam flakes around the house. It's been a long day of crafting. Got a lot accomplished. Here we're just looking at the top half of this epic cliff face. This video is getting a little long, so I'm going to end it here. Next week I'll go ahead and start on the texturing, the fiddly bits, like the little stalagmites and stalactites. And maybe even get it painted. Get a little bit of moss and some greenery on this. But for now, I'm tired. I'm gonna pour a glass of bourbon and I'm going to enjoy what I've done so far. If you've enjoyed this, go ahead and let me know by hitting that like button. Subscribe if you want to see part 2. It's kind of like a cliffhanger. Yeah, dad jokes. Anyway, thank you for watching. Peace.